Hello folks, this is Echo here for 13-Minute Horde Base. In this series, I take you through a tour of one of my crazy creations, show you the features, and then toss a horde at it to see how it fares. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to the Twisted Castle. This is the predecessor to the Winding Stair, which was originally targeted towards low and mid-game stage, but not anymore. Inspired by your comments, I took those to heart and then melded them with a number of ideas that I have, adding in turrets, blade traps, electrical fences, and all kinds of reinforcements. Additionally, this base houses some of the most complex and elaborate electrical wiring that I have ever done on any base. In the Winding Stair comments, there were differing opinions. Many of you said this could easily hold up to late game stage, and then there were others who said that a single demo would take the entire base down. Come join me for a tour through the base, and then we'll see which of you is right. Will it survive, or will it fall to the Horde? So let's do a quick walkthrough of the Twisted Castle. So this is built on the same framework as the Winding Stair, with a lot of additional firepower and protections. So as the zombies come up, it's going to be very similar, where they're going to come up here, they're going to jump across, and they're going to path along here and make their way over to you, hanging out over there, or along the back here, firing at them as they make their way to you. So what we have now that we didn't have before are all these electric fences. So there's two separate circuits here. There's one that's going to go crossways this way, and then there's two that go long ways here and here. Across the bottom, we have blade traps, and then these are turrets that can be opened from the inside. And then across the top, we've got 4 turret banks up here that are controllable again from the inside. On the very top, you're going to have lighting for the Horde Knight that's going to come down, as well as turrets on the top to deal with any birds that might come across there. So let's hop on in here and let you take a look. All right, so here is where we're going to do most of our fighting. We've placed these here so that if we get too many cops that we're trying to deal with, we've got some protection and we can just flip some down and hide behind them and lose line of sight. Across the top here, you're going to see controls. We've got turrets. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 from left to right, straight across the top. And then the last one here is the turrets on the roof to turn them on. So during the Horde Night, I built this intentionally so you can flip these on and off. You don't have to open up all 4 bays at once, and that allows you to conserve ammo and kind of spread it. You know, as zombies are piling up, you can deal with them as such, and you'll see how I deal with that during Horde Night. Across the back, we've got a little bit of crafting area here. We've got an area for cable management in the back. This wall is to help protect everything in case you got cops coming through. It doesn't take out all your wires and cabling. So again, as I mentioned before, here's your blade trap control. And you can hear those fire off from the bottom. This right here is the turrets by the stairs down below, so that'll open the bays down there and engage those turrets. You've got the electric fence that goes crosswise and the electric fence that goes long ways. And I broke these up into 2 separate circuits, because the best way is to start with the long ones and run it until they, you know, just break down, because you're not going to be able to get out and repair them. And then you trigger on the cross electric fence. And so that gives you kind of 2 layers of slowing the zombies down as they're jumping across. Lastly, we've got the electric fence down in the Pit of Love. So I forgot to mention that one, but down below here, pop out around the corner, we've got this lovely pit. So you've got a sledge turret up there knocking zombies off if they make it that far, and they will fall down in this area where they will be electrocuted. And similarly to other bases that I've done, the Hydra in particular, I've added in a grenade chute right here so you can dump them down there and blow up all of your friendly zombies. All right, so this is the basic area where you'll be doing fighting. Additionally, you've got one last switch here. This is going to provide 2 electric fences that run across here. and that'll just shock the guys as they get up here. It's also a good indicator. So if you're fighting on the other side, you'll hear this electric fence kick in, and you've got fallback points again. Now, I think this will be pretty strong. So that's 4 poles flipped on themselves, all reinforced to steel. But then if by any chance they break, you have 1, 2, and 3 more fallback points to go to escape the zombies. All right. So next, let's just take a look at the wiring. We're not going to go into detail on it, but here's where all the magic is happening. I try to label everything so I have an idea of what's going to where. So here we've got these inside ones going to the roof turrets, and then the outside ones going to the lights, and that's mimicked on the other side. We're running a green operation here, so everything is running on battery banks that are in turn powered by solar panels on the top. And everything's in individual circuits, so it can be controlled as you saw below. Okay. So one step up from here, we can take a look here, and you can see we've got our 4 solar panels here that is controlling everything. In these individual buildings here, you've got little control areas, so you have access to everything. So here's your spotlights, so you can get to them and control them. And likewise, here are your turrets that you can get into and be able to reload and repair and all that good stuff. And that, folks, is the quick walkthrough. We're ready to start the Horde night. So following our similar format for high-end Horde bases, we're going to go with insane difficulty, 64 zombies. And then we're going to set the game stage up to 720 with max level XP and day 7000. So first things first, we're going to get all of our switches set up in place, get our blade traps going, get our electric fences on. And then we'll make sure that the rooftop turrets are in place. And then we'll open up a few doors and watch our good friends heading on in. So they should be able to jump up either the left or the right side here. And there's Doggo hitting that first electric fence. Looks like they're split in half and half between right and left, lining up nicely, and we've already got demos. So I'll speed up some of the gunplay through here. But basically, you're going to watch them line up here and just shoot them as they come across. The demos, it's handy to let them come through the first line and circle around. That way you can hit them in the back. Starting to get a decent number out here, so I'm going to go ahead and flick on the first turret bay. So that is going to flip open the first door up top and then supply power to those turrets and let them start firing. We're also going to go ahead and turn on the stair turrets right down here at the bottom. And that'll just help thin them out a little bit as they're heading up to me. So we have 10 total turrets to work with, each split into groups of 2. And that just lets you manage ammo as you're going through the night, because you don't want to put them all on and then dump all your ammo if you end up having, you know, a huge crowd that you're having a hard time dealing with. So here's the other firing position. You can come here. This is also your final defense position if they make it around. Now you can see if you look to the bottom, they're definitely starting to pile up right at the bottom of those stairs. So one of the easy answers for that is to just huck a whole bunch of grenades down into the crowd of them, pull the pin, and watch these guys fly. So far you can see this base is pretty solid, but it definitely does have some vulnerabilities. The 2 things to watch out for here are the demos and those spitting cops, especially the irradiated ones. On my playtesting of the base, I definitely had to make some adjustments in regards to where the switches were. I had them lower before and they were just getting hit too easily by the spitters. So we moved those up there, and that provided a lot better protection. The top layers of the walkways are reinforced up to steel. They can take about 2 to 3 demos before they're compromised. So this base does have you thinking all the time and staying active. I just noticed the electric fence isn't working. They've probably blown through them. So we're going to turn back on the crossways electric fence now. They've already burned through the long one. And again, we'll take a look down at the bottom of the stairs and huck some grenades and see if we can clear out some of the crowds down there. It is enjoyable watching them fly. So here we're managing, but they definitely will pile up. So again, this is the advantage of having everything on separate switches. In this scenario, I can flip all the turrets on and just go full ham here to make sure that we can manage this, because some of these guys, especially the irradiated ones that are healing, just can't keep enough shots on them fast enough. So even with that, sometimes they're gonna just pile up a little bit and you're gonna have to manage them with grenades like we did on the left side. So we're gonna take one of those action hero movie moves here, you know, where they hang out the side of the door with a gun and shoot the car in front, except for we're gonna do it hanging out the side of the base, hucking grenades. So we're just gonna fill this crowd up here, pull the pin and let loose a glorious explosion. Look at them fly. One of my favorite things about reworking this base was just getting to play with the aesthetic of it. I tried to work in some sharp arches throughout the base, and then with the 4 towers on top, just gives it kind of a nice gothic feel to it. But I gotta say, regardless of the aesthetic, this base definitely does perform and gives a lot of interesting gameplay as well. So anyone who thought that it wouldn't hold up, sorry, doing just fine. There's the 4 o'clock bell. We'll just speed this up and clean out the remaining folks here, turn all the turrets up to high and let them go. The only time I felt like I was any risk here was actually at the end of the morning, cleaning out the scraps and garbage left behind from the night. All right, dearie, get out of here. We need to talk for a second. So Pumbaa, what are your thoughts on the base? So as Pumbaa was saying, if you have enjoyed seeing the Twisted Castle here, please consider subscribing so you can see some of my other content. Let's jump into the rankings. So for survivability, we're going to stick with 9 out of 10, just like on the Winding Stair. We had no problem whatsoever. From an expandability perspective, I was clearly wrong on the Winding Stair. I had that as a 5 out of 10. We're going to bump this up to easily an 8 out of 10. We did quite a bit of reinforcement and upgrade to make this quite a strong base. Next, in regards to maintenance, we're going to go with an 8 out of 10. This base held up pretty well. I don't see very many missing blocks at all, so we'll just have to go through and patch up some of the areas that did take some damage. From a fun factor, this base was amazing. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 on this one. I was able to do melee if they ever made it to me, which they didn't, I don't think. And then I've got huck and grenade action, and I've got gunplay, and I've got switches that I can turn on and off, the blade traps, turrets, and electric fences. And lastly, multiplayer, we're going to put this probably still at an 8 out of 10, which is where we had it on the Winding Stair. Could easily support several people across the front area, and then one in that defensive melee area and still shoot across, or you could have one person bouncing on the controls. But folks, that is it. That is the Twisted Castle. I hope you have enjoyed this. I will see you on the next one. Echo out.